Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please give a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just get out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Alright, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure to take your shoes off before you come out. And the Boston Celtics do lose this game in San Antonio 125 to 116 to the San Antonio Spurs. Of course, the headlines of this game is Jaylen Brown being ejected in the second quarter. Tatum is a third game back, and Victor dominating, and De'Aaron Fox having a great game. But there's a lot of offensive and defensive things in this game, and I haven't done a full game breakdown in some time. And with the stretch that the Celtics are going through, obviously beating Cleveland in their last game, but this game, then the OKC game, there's going to be a lot of things that we will learn over this time. And I think no better game to bring it back than this game. But I am getting sick. I'm pretty sure you can hear it in my voice, so sorry for that. But the first thing I did notice in this game is, at least on the offensive side, that we were going to have opportunities for 2-on-1s on ball screens and off ball screens. So of course we have the big behemoth lanky alien guy who impacts so much of your offense. But when we do off ball screens, right, Cade is not a shooting threat, right? But also Victor loves to protect the paint. He's going to be helping. He wants to have like a bird's eye view of drive so he can come over there and help, right? So this will lead to us having 2-on-1s off the ball when Cade screens. See how much space Wemby's giving Kata. So this allows us to have a 2-1 with Kata and White as Kata sets his flare screen on De'Aaron Fox. If De'Aaron Fox does not guard this perfectly, he goes under right there. White gets 3. All right, so here's an impact of lanky, bro. Bro, he don't even look real. Like this shit, like his body doesn't even look real. But get him away from the paint, almost to the hash mark, right? And we're gonna initiate blind pig here. So blind pig is a dribble handoff under a denying or high playing defender. So it looks like, I think Kyle's trying to get the ball to JB. You see Devin Vassell's denying that. You see Champagne is playing super high, like feet off the 3-point line on Jason Tatum as he's at the logo or like half court. So we get it to Kata. He flashes up. Now Champagne's back is turned to the play. Going to get into that dribble handoff there with Kata, with Castle on him. And Kata does a phenomenal job of getting out of this, seeing how much space Tatum already has, so he does not have to come up here and screen, right? He gets out super fast, and Wemby just ruins a phenomenal play. That block leads to a corner 3 by Devin Vassell. Fox is going to penetrate, get Jaylen Brown to come to him, and kicks it out for the corner 3. Then Jaylen Brown's going to come back on the offense side, goes really fast, discards Stephon Castle, and lanky Brudge is there to turn that, and we shoot a contested 3. There's something I've noticed in these past couple of years. I've done a couple of videos on Victor. I've also done like a playbook video on the Spurs. I believe that was last year. They have the most dangerous pin down action, especially their wide pin downs, because of course the traditional one is the center setting it for the guard here, which Victor is setting it for De'Aaron Fox. This is dangerous in itself because De'Aaron Fox is one of the quicker guards in the league. He has so much in his offensive arsenal, and Victor screening, right? There's an event where De'Aaron Fox is able to catch this ball, but he does not have a shot. You have this guy rolling to the basket, the best of vertical spacer in the NBA, with an empty side 2-on-2 game right there. So that's just that. But then even more dangerous in my opinion is when they have this inverted and the guard sets a screen for Victor, and it just takes advantage of the big man. Something they're not used to is coming off of pin downs and trying to defend that. And Victor, with his size and athleticism and his agility at that size, is just such a problem to deal with. And you see the quickness by Fox here, catches the ball, splits 2 of our defenders, and gets the floater to go. And it's really such a shame that Jaylen Brown got thrown out in this game. In just 14 minutes, he had 8 points and 7 assists. Again, just in 14 minutes. Here, challenges Vic, goes right through him and over him for the layup. And then we get him back on the defense side of the ball. Good drive containment by Sam Hauser. He has some really good defensive plays in this game. Right there, Jaylen Brown gets the ball, of course, against Wemby again. Probably not going to take that one, but he gets the assist to Derek White for the 3. I see a great possession and great game plan discipline by the Spanish son, Hugo Gonzalez here, against Tanner Harper, who is having an historic driving and rim pressure season, especially for a rookie guard. We would rather him shoot threes than for him to drive to the basket. So he tries to initiate get action here. Get action is when somebody passes the ball to somebody, just immediately get the ball back. So he passes it to Luke, gets the ball back. You see Hugo's going under that screen, allowing him to shoot the ball if he wants to and take that space. He passed the ball out to Stephon Castle and he missed the 3. But then we go on the offense side of the ball. We have penetration by Jaylen Brown, drawing 2 defenders right there. Hugo is that wide open. He pump fakes and gets that floater to go. Then we go back on the defensive side of the ball. Spurs are going to run some stagger action. Stagger is named after stagger screens, which is 2 of the same off-ball screens with just a little bit of space in between them. So Devin Vassell and Luke Kornet's going to set these 2 screens for Keldon Johnson to come off them. You see the space in between them. So as he comes off, Vassell sets a really good screen on Derek White, getting him lagging behind, right? Luke Kornet gets out of it. But watch what Hugo does. It's really important, right? So it slows down Keldon Johnson just a little bit so Derek White can get back. That swipe right there makes Keldon Johnson do a low gather, picks up his dribble, but that slowed down. But Ugo slowing him down because of that swipe allows Derek White to get the lefty block. All right, so I forgot to mention this at the top, but of course, Peyton Pritchard did not play in this game, so that means that somebody has to replace his ball handler and his scoring. And I felt in this lineup with Tatum and mostly the bench team. Is it Tatum and mostly the bench? Yeah, Tatum and Kata with the bench. Ron Harper Jr., Ugo, and Billy Shaman. Shaman was the guy that was a secondary ball handler in this, and I thought he did a pretty good job. He was bringing the ball up. Then they were getting into pick and rolls with Jason Tatum. As you see here, he brings it up. And Kata is going to set the screen for Tatum, and it's going to end with Shaman getting a three. I see the Spurs go zone, but in most zones, I've seen the Celtics do this multiple times this season, but in most zones, if you just set a pick and roll, it turns into a 2-on-2 situation, right? So they're in zone, right? But Kata sets, takes the time to get the right angle, and the screen gets right here, and it's just a 2-on-2 now, right? It's Jalen Harper and Luke Cornett versus Demias Kata and Jason Tatum, right? So if you set a pick and roll right there in the zone, you just get a 2-on-2. Now it's a 1-on-1 with Tatum going down here at Luke Cornett. All right, here we got Shaman bringing the ball up again. When I talked about Victor just being in that deep drop, just trying to patrol every drive and stuff like that, and not guarding them as kid. The same thing as for Luke Cornett. So they have two basically the same like scheme defensive bigs, right? So Luke Cornett is going to be in that drop. He's going to try to protect the rim. Victor's going to do the same thing. But with Shaman doing this right, pushes the pace right here, forces Luke Cornett into the paint. But anyway, in a regular occasion, we were going to be able to get into this two and get these 2-on-1s here. Another blind pick action with Keldon Johnson has his back turned to the ball. Right there, Katie gets a handoff, a great screen, and Tatum gets a pull-up three. And look at these teammates right here, man. It's so good to be loved, so good to have a green on. Everybody sees Tatum fall, and everybody goes get him. But what I like about this is he's blowing past Carter Bryant here. The clip is a little cut off for some reason, I'm not sure. But Carter Bryant is a really good young defender, right? And Tatum, I've been very encouraged with the blow-bys. Everything else is going to come with time. The shoot and touch is going to come with time, bro. But him being able to blow past like good defenders this early is really encouraging. All right, so of course, you'll see more clips of this later, but the game plan defensively for the Celtics was to let certain guys shoot, and Carter Bryant was that guy, Victor Wembanyama was that guy. Victor Wembanyama shoots 35% from three, on about 5 attempts on the season. Today, he hit 8 for, well, in this game, he hit 8 for 15. So the Celtics were giving him space and would rather him do his work from the three-point line rather than ravaging us in the paint. And he was able to hit 8 threes. So, I mean, you got to kind of live with that. But also against Carter Bryant, they were willing to live with Carter Bryant shots. He started off like 3 for 6, which is good, but then he ended 3 for 8. So I like how they stuck with that plan, being with that. But here the Spurs go to stagger twirl again, stagger two of the same off-ball screens. There's a little bit of space in between them. But the twirl part is that Carter Bryant is going to twirl into this, and now De'Aaron Fox is going to come off it. But again, you see Luka Garza coming all the way off of Carter Bryant, giving him that shot. He hit his first 2. But good job by the Celtics. I see the chest action gives Derek White a driving lane. Chest is an on-ball screen, and then that on-ball screener is going to receive a flare from the big man. So this can either be a regular screen or a go screen, but Sam Howell's going to set the go screen. Then he's going to receive the flare from Luka Garza. Now, usually the ball will go to this guy right here who's coming on the flare screen, but it also opens up a driving lane for the handler, right? We see Jaylen Brown do this a lot of times on the chest action, right? So he sets that, they switch it, but you see Champagne's momentum, right? He has to jump to this side because that's where Derek White is going, but that allows a counter for Derek White to spin back inside and get the bucket. And man, it is so impressive that the Celtics can get contributions out of literally anybody. Ron Harper Jr., he's just going to get a video after this one, but 22 points in this game for the two-way G League prospect shooting over Victor Wembanyama. So this isn't Luke or Victor on this play, but Luka Garza is going to set another flare screen right here for Derek White so he can flare off right here. You see the space that Dylan Harper is giving him, so that allows for a 2-on-1 for just half a second, and they have to switch it because of the good screen, which means it's a wild closeout by Harper, and you see the seal right there by Luka Garza. So, of course, with the strategy of leaving Carter Bryant open, of course, we're going to have a smaller guy on Victor Wembanyama for some in this game. It was Sam Hauser. And we're going to have Luka Garza on Carter Bryant. So that means wherever Victor goes, the big is going to try to help. So they switch it. We have Derek White over top. We have Luka Garza on the backside here, leaving Carter Bryant open. He misses this shot again. He ended 3 for 8. But again, that does open up rebound opportunities for Vic. It doesn't hurt us here as we still get the ball. was just an impressive shot making sequence by both teams here. We got the wide action here from Luka Garza so Jaylen Brown can get the ball on the move to the middle of the floor. Here he gets downhill versus Vic and hits a tough pivot turnaround jumper over Victor. He's going to look at him to let him know that he just hit that shot. Then we're going to come back. Of course, Victor, again, we were giving him space, let him shoot those threes. Again, he just was 8 for 15 in this game. Shot well over his average and shot 15 attempts. The Celtics did the same thing with Nikola Jokic, where he shot like 13 threes. He didn't have as much success as Victor did, but it is what it is. But then Hauser comes right back down, hits a 3 over Vassell. All right, so here I talked about the Spurs wide pin downs. Here's the inverted version right here. Just making Luka Garza move. He doesn't get the ball immediately curling right here because Ron Harper Jr. does a nice job. Fake like he's going to switch, just stand there until Luka Garza can get back. But the Celtics did do a nice job when Wemby drove with conversion and sending multiple bodies here. Victor Wembanyama tries to drive, but Garza does a nice job putting his hands in the air, just getting his body in the way. I think Victor has 6 turnovers in this game. And I'm not really sure what this is about. All right, so here's the Jaylen Brown ejection, right? He clearly, obviously, gets pushed in the back, whether it's a lot or a little bit. He did get pushed. The referee's looking right at him. You see our coaches are going crazy right there. Sam Cassell, everybody. Joe Mazzulla's going crazy. And Reggie Miller knew on the call that this was going to heat up Jaylen Brown. Now, the first tech, I believe he earned, right? He's going to the referees, obviously upset as the play is over, going after the ref, pointing. He let that one go, that little smug reaction right there. But Jaylen Brown went back to him. I guess he said something after the point, and then he got the first tag, right? I don't know what he said right there. It seemed like it was over after this. Jaylen Brown said something really quick and a really quick point. I guess he said something bad in that quick stint. He got the first tag. Okay. First tag warranted. Cool, whatever. Get your first tag, JB, then let's play. But then he continues to go back afterwards, right? I believe at this point he needs to calm it down, right? You see he's still mad, stuff like that. I didn't think that warranted an ejection, especially with 3 of his teammates right there, right? You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that warranted an ejection, especially not from the other ref, right? If he calls it, he might feel threatened, the guy walking up on him, pointing at him, stuff like that. An ejection is different from the tech, man. It's so, like, you have to be doing a lot more than that. Now, if this would have happened, they didn't call the tech here on this, and then Jaylen Brown went back demonstratively pointing at him, saying whatever, okay, I might can understand that one. But for an ejection, I don't know. Now, 2 things can be true at the same time. Jaylen Brown has to realize that you have gotten ample amount of time to talk your shit about that missed call, right? You got to realize that, hey, at some point, we have to stop. Of course, he's upset, still going at him. Now he's ejected. Now he's really upset. It is what it is. All right, so shortly after that, I believe Tatum scored 2 straight points. The first one was a 3 off Spain action where he was the back screener, then he went out for a 3 over Stephon Castle. Then here we got Ram action. Ram action is an off-ball screen for somebody to go set a ball screen. So K's going to set this off-ball screen right here, and then we're going to have Tatum come up and set this ball screen for Derek White. He comes up right there. We're looking to get, now this first screen from Baylor Shaman is to get Stephon Castle off the ball. So we're trying to hunt De'Aaron Fox here. I don't think Fox is a horrible defender, but he's the worst defender out of the group that's on the floor right now. So that's the guy we're going to hunt. So Shaman sets the screen to get this switch for De'Aaron Fox. So Jason Tatum, when he sets this on-ball screen, he can get Fox switched onto him. They don't end up switching right there, but Tatum still scores on Carter Bryant right there with the fadeaway mid-range right there. And then we're going to see the game plan discipline right here, or the defensive game plan. When Victor sets the screen, we're going to allow him to pop open. Kata tries a corner contest, a 7-4 guy. He was just hot in this game. All right, so this third quarter was an absolute show. It was a Derek White and Victor Wembanyama show. Derek White, of course, with Jaylen Brown ejected in the second quarter, we had Baylor Shaman starting to start the second half, and he was bringing the ball up. But in the third quarter, Derek White played every second, 12 minutes, 19 points in the third quarter. Victor Wembanyama had 14 points and 13 rebounds. But here, Shaman brings the ball up, right? Then we're going to get the ball at Tatum. Then we're going to get into, again, those stagger screens right here. The Celtics are going to run it right here. 1, 2, little bit of space in between them. Derek White's going to come off both of them. Then we're going to get into a pick and roll with him and Amias Kata. Derek White has been really good in that floater range, that in-between game in the pick and rolls these last couple of games, and here he gets a floater to go. I see the screen is kind of cut off, but I know this is a fair screen by Amias Kata because it looks like Victor Wembanyama is communicating that there was going to be an on-ball screen, but then Kata comes over here to set this wide pin down for Jason Tatum to come out here. So he sets that wide pin down, ball goes to Jason Tatum, gets it right back to Derek White. And the Tatum pick and roll combo was really good in this third quarter. They got a lot of stuff off it. They got drives from Derek White, threes from Derek White, and they got a drive from Tatum off a switch. But here, great pass placement. It looked like just effortless pass placement here by Jason Tatum right here with the flare from the miss kid, and Derek, and this pass is gonna lead Derek White right to where he needs to be right there. Jason Tatum's gonna pass it right there, bang, right in his hand. Then we get into another 2-1 situation with Wemby and drop. And what makes Wemby, well, everything makes him special, but his playmaking ability is so good for a 7'4" guy to be able to pump fake, cross, pump fake, in and out cross right there and see the defense. Of course, he can see over top of everybody, but the no look pass right there to Stephon Castle in the corner. We will live with these, but he has some really important ones. All right, sure, we got to switch with Victor on the perimeter. I talked about the Tatum White up here in our combo here. Test screen on Victor, gets Victor switched onto him, and he does not settle. He pump fakes and gets right to the rim. All right, here once again, Tatum, Derek White pick roll combo right here. He's going to set the screen. The Spurs have been not torched, but the Celtics just score off this play twice in a row. So Victor's going to back up right here as the screen's coming, and that gives Derek White all the space he needs for the three. I sure after the defensive rebound, Jason Tatum pushes the ball, and you see how much defensive attention that he gets, and he does a nice job of creating for himself and others when he faces this attention. So right here, he drives the ball right to Champagne. He's in his help gap right here, so Jason Tatum cannot further puncture the paint. But he gets it to Belashama because that leaves him open. He drives good flare screen here by Luka Garza to get Tatum open right here on the wing. Belashama is going to pass it to him, and the threat of Jason Tatum's three, his pull up right there, gets Victor and Castle to jump. Now he just, of course, and then again we have Champagne in the passing lane here, just trying to have active hands and feet, but Jason Tatum gets through all of that and scores. All right, so again here, just doing a phenomenal job of keeping Victor away from the paint as much as possible here. He's in the corner, right? But the Celtics did a great job of when Victor was in the corner against their guys were lifting up off of the corner and either getting to handoffs and relocating somewhere on the perimeter. So Victor couldn't be near the corner or near the paint. So Ron Harper Jr. gets a handoff. They're going to go up there. And to keep Victor as close to the paint as possible, they're going to switch. But if this is as close as possible, there's an advantage for us because there's nobody in the corner. He can't just be right here protecting the rim or waiting for somebody to drive. He's all the way up here above the three-point line. And then we're able to drive off that. And again, Derek White showing that patience. He knows right there Dan Vassell comes to help, pump fake, and he knows Victor's behind him. So he just stays patient, stays on his pivot foot, and gets a layup. But then we go down. You cannot give up layups after getting a layup. You see the frustration by Joe Mazzulla right there clapping at the team. You can't give up layups after layups. I sure again got Luka Garza helping on that drive here. Just some more penetration by Dylan Harper against his big brother Ron Harper Jr. right there defending him. But the step back three from a guy this big, I mean, I guess, bro. And again, man, we just have to applaud Derek White for his effort in the third quarter. Again, played the whole third quarter, every minute, every second, 19 points, kept us afloat, kept us close. Without without JB for this, of course, the whole second half, but without Tatum for 7 minutes of this, kept us afloat, kept us close. Here with the sweep through and one. All right, so on the NBC broadcast, of course, Bam Adebayo had 83 points last night, and they went to a live look-in at the beginning of the fourth quarter here to the Miami game, basically cutting off the first like 2.5 minutes of this fourth quarter, and Tatum scored 7 straight points. So this is the first time I was seeing this whole sequence. Bro looks good. Bro is moving well right there, taking advantage of Fox, but then he was able to get a mid-range fadeaway and a three. And something that I was very interested to see in this game was with Tatum, with JB getting ejected, with that, and of course with no Payne Pritchard, I was wondering if that would impact Jason Tatum's minute restriction in the first 2 games of his season coming back from that injury. He did not eclipse 27 minutes, so I believe in the Mavs game it was like 27 minutes and 10 seconds. In the Cavaliers game it was like 27 minutes and 42 seconds. I was wondering, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I was wondering if it could get up to like 28, 29 with JB out and with Payne Pritchard out, but no. The first Tatum played about 3 minutes per stint where he scored 7 points. He came out and came back in with about like 5 minutes. But again, Ron Harper Jr., man, It's so good. Two-way guy in a possession where we had nothing going. He made some really big plays on the offensive side of the ball. And after that, 1-point game, but Victor just unleashes his wrath on us here with that dunk. He just goes past. We go on the offensive side of the ball. Sam Howell tries to shoot a 3 over him. He contests well, and we miss. And then he gets another 3 in the corner. Just a phenomenal player. Nothing we've ever seen before. And when he's on, he's really on. But then with him out the game, the Spurs extended their lead up to 10 points. Devin Vassell had like 5 straight. Of course, live ball turnovers are never good. But the Celtics did not bow down at all. Ron Harper Jr. just got an offensive foul on Victor Wembanyama. See, we have a 2-on-1 situation. Keldon Johnson trying to play in between, having active hands and feet. That Tatum jab step kind of made him stumble a little bit, and we cut it to 5. But again, as I said earlier, Stephon Castle hit some very timely shots in this game. You see Victor's role. Ron Harper Jr. is fighting him, right, with the drive of De'Aaron Fox to Belishama comes off of Stephon Castle, which again, something we'll live with, but he burnt us. But that is a video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share it in and everyone that you can. Just get out there a little bit more. Now we'll see you guys in the next video. This is Nick. Peace.